What is good? We got another fun episode for you. Got my man Chev back in the house. What's good?
Hey, man. You know me. Any day on this side of the dirt's a good one, brother.
Yeah, man. All right. So today we have rookies you can't leave your draft without. And we're going to talk about one in each round, kind of based on our current ADP. Some of this will change. We'll speculate where some of it may go at times. But we're going to go through every round, and each of us going to tell you about a prospect that in that round, we don't want to leave that round without. So, Chev, why don't you kick us off? Round one, who's the rookie you got to have?
Well, it's a guy that we've talked about before that I've spoken the platitudes, the words of truth and power about. Quinshon Judkins just makes me want to do man shit. I want to go operate power tools. I want to go build something with my hands. And now I want to not leave the first round without Quinshon Judkins. So that's my guy right here. Currently at the 105 in our ADP, and the RB3 is cemented behind Ashton Genty and Amarion Hampton. But I cannot leave I can't leave the first round without Quinshon Judkins. I think the world of what he's going to be able to do. I don't think that he's going to be one of the guys. Obviously, with this running back class, we're talking about guys potentially not landing a day one role, but I think he's going to be a starter the minute that he steps into an NFL running back room.
Yeah, we're in a really good place right now with this draft class, with seemingly the excitement for them, at least for the first roundish guys, that the capital seems to be almost a no-brainer to match up so that you don't really have to worry about it. Is Amarion Hampton or Judkins, Kaleb, Travion, are they going to be first rounders? Maybe one of them might, and maybe we get a big surprise and two of them are. But at the very least, all of them are going in the second or third round. Maybe they play a little chicken, GMs do, and maybe a couple of these guys get pushed down a little further than we thought they would, but I think that just speaks to the depth of the class of how the running backs are. So I could see that happening, but I could also just see, hey, we ripped the top off this thing early, and in the second round, which is pretty much all the projections you see, you get Judkins, you get Travion, you get Kaleb Williams in the second round, or Kaleb Johnson rather, in the second round. Yep. So those things aren't a concern at the moment. What really, I think, cemented Judkins where there was a lot of questions for a lot of people was the combine. I mean, sometimes it can be that simple, especially for the general public, of saying, hey, all right, well, the questions were consistently, what's the speed and the quickness, and the top end speed didn't look great, but the quickness was always really good, right? Yes. In his freshman season at Ole Miss, you had 1,400 yards when he was just the bell cow. He had 39 runs of 10 yards or more, 24 runs of 15 yards or more, and 86 first downs. I mean, so while he may not be the top end speed guy, potentially, you're not going to have that many breakaway runs with below average speed, I don't think, right? I mean, I guess you could kind of look at Najee Harris, and some people, question his explosiveness, and he always has a lot of 10-yard runs. But once you get into the breakaway percentage and the speed, I think Quinshon has put some of those rumors to bed. Also, I think sometimes unfairly you see too much stock put into those times at the combine. I don't know that he's as fast as the combine speed playing on the field, right? And we see that go in both directions, I think. But what he does give you is he gives you the hammer, right? He just is out there. Setter. Right. He's out there just laying wood. For those who weren't familiar with how good he was and didn't know how good he was as a freshman until maybe he was sharing the backfield with Travion in Ohio State, like excellent freshman year, burst onto the scene and was crazy. And then what I think really those Ohio State or the newcomers, they saw him in the college football run in the playoffs, and he was outstanding, right? Catching the ball, setting the tone on the field, can pass block well enough, right? So checks a lot of the boxes. Then the combine came in. So yeah, I mean, Quinshon Judkins feels really good right now.
Yeah, for me, it's just I wanted to see him turn in the 4.5s in terms of 40 time, but my question was about it was the burst. I wanted to see him because what I saw on film was the ability to accelerate in short spaces and turn turn a 5-yard run into a 15-yard run just because a guy takes a bad angle because he's big and strong and he can run over you, but he makes you miss because of the fact that he's way, way, way quicker than what you anticipate. I know way, way, way quicker is not hashtag quantitative analysis, but turn the film on, you'll understand what I'm talking about. When he accelerates, it's like a smaller back. So yeah, this is my guy. We've been through the paces about this. One of our first conversations, I told you, I said, hey, I really like Quinshon Judkins. You were a big, guy you're about to talk about. So I won't spoil it. I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah, and to quantitate some of the quicker stuff was that breakaway speed, and then 178 career missed tackles forced in just 3 years is a really strong number. And we know after that season at Ole Miss, when he transferred into Ohio State, obviously wasn't getting the volume that he was as a premier bell cow. So putting together 178 career missed tackles forced is a great number, and that only not shows the quickness and the ability to avoid tackles, but also in that number also shows, I think, his strength of thwarting arm tackles off of him. So
yeah, I mean, he's going to punish you if you try to come in anything other than 100% correct.
1,000%. So like Quinshon Judkins coming in at 106 in our ADP. I'm going with another running back. He's coming in at 110 right now in our ADP. And for me, this is I'm going to be gobbling that up in every rookie draft possible. If this guy starts sliding to super flex, tight end premium is what we're talking here. If Kaleb Johnson wants to slip to 110 in all these drafts, I'll be trading in as much as possible into that 110 spot to grab myself. And I'd for sure trade a one next year if I needed to get up, take some twos and a one and get back into that first round. Because I believe in this guy so much. Gives you that big, brawlic kind of running back. But I also think, kind of like you were saying with the acceleration, and I'm not saying that the acceleration of Kaleb is insane or anything, but I think his movement skills, Kaleb Johnson's is that of a little bit of a smaller back. And that's what I really like about him. I think he's just figuring out how to use all that power and size he has. And you saw that throughout the film this year, and really just has the one huge year here at Iowa. But he's coming in at 6 foot, 225 pounds. Now, didn't kill the combine with the speed, but we have him on GPS at 22 miles per hour. So he's not slow, right? And just how we talked about Quinshon, right? We have Kaleb Johnson at, 10 plus runs or more. He has 43 of those, 15 plus runs or more. He has 28 of those. That was good for third and fourth in the nation. And the breakaway percentage is 56.1%, which was 8th overall. So you can't be a slow cement-footed back and have that kind of explosion. Now, there were some great holes in the Iowa offensive line, but this also isn't the Iowa offensive line that everybody is, right, that everyone has come accustomed to knowing that this is the strength of Iowa. Still a good offensive line, of course, but Kaleb was definitely doing work on his own. And again, what I like about him, right. Then you want to get into the touchdowns. There's 21 of those. That's good for 4th overall. 0 fumbles, 6.4 an attempt on 1,500 yards, 240 attempts. So to me, he's my second favorite running back in this class. And to be able to get him at 110, and what you get out of all these running backs is some different stylistic points, right? And to me, I like what Kaleb brings because the way he runs is very bend curve. It's not straight angular things. It's very smooth, glidey. And then on top of that, he still has the size and girth power to finish runs really strong. He's a good tackle breaking running back. Contact balance is really strong. Pass pro seems good. And, hands, I saw plenty of times where the hands were more than adequate.
Threshold, right?
Right. Digging balls out of the dirt. Pretty good receiver, can catch it over his shoulder. Are you going to put him in the slot? No, but that dream goes out of the window with so many players, right? Everyone wants to say that we're going to line this. Remember Tony Pollard was going to play the slot for the Cowboys forever. And all these players throughout history were going to come in and play. Very rarely does it actually ever happen. Kaleb is not that kind of guy, but the hands are good. The pass protection's good. So again, checks all the boxes for me. The value on him right now, I think, is excellent in these drafts. And again, I think he's going to get second at worst, early third draft capital. And in the second round, those teams that are going to be coming up on him are going to be the teams like the Chicago Bears, the Raiders, the Cowboys, Denver Broncos. Any of those landing spots for any of these running backs are awesome. Maybe Cleveland, right? We've seen RBs thrive in those sort of situations, and those are kind of the trendy spots where one of these running backs kind of end up.
Anywhere from 33 to I want to say about 55 is where he could land in the second round. And most of those landing spots are primo, if we're being honest. He goes to Cleveland. This ADP flips in a heartbeat because nobody's saying that Jerome Ford's going to be the incumbent and going to be a starter. If he goes to Chicago, we're almost back to the smash and dash, Sonic and Knuckles with he and DeAndre Swift most likely because of the fact that Ben Johnson deployed that system in Detroit to great success, and they've still got DeAndre Swift under contract for a while, but I think they can get out after this year. I mean, if he goes to Denver, you've got your power back along with, they're probably going to take another. I mean, they need a pass catching back. So it's less of a fit in Denver, but still, I mean, the Chargers in the 50s, there's just so many different landing spots. And I think that you made an important point about him kind of still figuring it out. He's a true junior, but now he did flash. He's one of the only guys in Iowa history to go for 200 yards as a true freshman. So like we're talking about a guy that's very talented, and he's still kind of figuring out his body, which sounds weird to say for a guy who's about to go into the NFL and make millions of dollars, but
right.
That's kind of where we are. Like that's, and he's a very, 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 very skilled running back. His best play on film to me is the swing pass that he houses against Nebraska. You haven't looked that up. It's his longest play from scrimmage. And it's a hands catch. He makes a guy miss, then outruns everybody to the end zone. I wasn't a big Kaleb guy, but this value at 110 is really, it's going to be really difficult for me to pass up.
Yeah. So I'm not leaving without Kaleb Johnson in round one. All right. Who you got round two?
Oh, this is easy. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time or any other content that you've ever heard me be a part of, I've been very vocal about one receiver. There are a lot of guys that I like. I'm not one of the guys that's going to tell you that this isn't a very good receiving class, but the guy who solidified it for me, starting at the Senior Bowl and then just been on a rocket ship from that point forward, is Jayden Higgins. Yeah, Jayden Higgins for me, I mean, we're talking about at the back end of the second currently, pick 211. I can't help but to be ridiculously excited about the value here. He goes and he's 6'4", 214, 39-inch vertical, 4.47 40. I've talked time and time again about how on film he shows you that he is a skilled receiver. He's not just playing bully ball or basketball on grass like they used to play at Baylor back in the day, or whatever you want to call it for Big 12 wide receivers. That we know that they're not playing a bunch of defense in the Big 12 most of the time. So he has the skill, and he's put that on display over and over again. And then he shows you he's got a ridiculous amount of athleticism that's probably vaulted him into the top 50 of the draft. So this ADP to me screams value. There's other guys that I really like, but this value I can't pass up on at the 211.
Yeah, I mean, Higgins is one of these players right now, and I've said this multiple times on multiple shows. There's a disconnect right now between fantasy players and the NFL draft. And the discount of the back half of this second round right now of Higgins and sometimes into the third. Obviously it's ADP, so it's average draft position. So there's probably, there's some times where I've taken him at 302. Everyone's infatuated with some players up here. But when Jayden Higgins goes, whatever pick the Packers have high, not high in the second round, but late in the second round, or we're doing a mock right now, basing it off of something, and he goes to Buffalo at 50 something, right? So he's going to go somewhere locked into that second. And hell, I mean, there is a little bit of chatter that maybe he even goes back into the first round as maybe the second or third receiver off the board, because there's a lot to like about him, right? He can win in a bunch of different ways, and you can play him as a big slot. Because he isn't some stiff big guy, kind of like we were just talking about Kaleb Johnson. Like, this guy can move. He's really athletic. He's not a liability in the middle of the field. Can win you in vertical situations. And PFF had him as the number 1 graded wide receiver this year. Now, does that mean much? Not really. But put a lot of different parts and pieces of the game together. So I'm with you. Jayden Higgins has been an auto pick for me. I think our luck is going to run out here a little bit of how good the value is. He's going to be a second round, first round turn guy if he ends up going to a landing spot everyone loves and gets the capital, I think. Or maybe sometimes there's these guys that get the capital and for whatever reason the fantasy guys never really catch up to, or at least the fantasy public never really catch up to, and you still continue to get a discount. 211 I don't think is going to continue to happen, but he's the one of the best values in rookie drafts currently.
Yeah, to me, we're talking, you're talking Matthew Golden on the front end of the first round. The mock that we're working through right now, he went to the Seahawks, and then Trey Harris went to the Chargers, and it's a 7-round mock on ESPN if you guys want to go look that up. But this mock particularly has Jayden Higgins going to the Buffalo Bills, and I think that is a primo landing spot for him, being paired with Josh Allen. Yes, you have Keon Coleman there. But I think that the skill level from a separation standpoint and his ability to win on horizontal breaking routes and in breakers would unlock a piece of the offense that they did not have last year because Keon Coleman is not as nuanced as a route runner. So I got really excited for that. And if he just lands anywhere with a comp like a second contract quarterback, I'll say that. If he lands anywhere with a second contract quarterback, this ADP, like he's gonna scoot way further up into the second round, potentially into the back of the first. So yes, I am. Yeah, it's Jayden Higgins, full stop, no equivocations.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna go Devin Neal on this one right now, and he's been a guy for, I know you and I all the way back to last year for me. I've been driving this truck of Devin Neal's. I'm on the bandwagon, driving the train, however you want to frame it. He's coming in at 205 right now. I'm probably a little more responsible for some of that ADP because I can't stop drafting this guy. I love him. He's just a productive player, man. And I feel like he did kind of get a little steamed up, and then what we thought might happen, happened, didn't come out, crush the combine, didn't run real fast. And that's okay. That's what we want. And then we'll see what the draft capital is, but he's not getting past the 4th round, right? And this is where some more chicken might come in the draft, right? With GMs of, hey, maybe these top couple of guys go, but then the Harveys, the Neals, the Sampsons, the Scattabos, the whoever else you want to put in that realm of guys that you like, they might be like, we're jockeying for position from the beginning of the 3rd to the end of the 3rd, and once that top comes off, then maybe a whole bunch more of those guys go. So It may skew quote unquote draft capital a little, and that's what we got to be careful in this draft, right? Is because of the depth that sometimes maybe the capital won't match what we think the talent might be, which opens up better opportunities for guys who have put the work in, right? And Neal, all he does is put the work in. It's just production. He'll be 22 years old entering the draft. He's 5'10". He's come in a bunch of different sizes and weights through this process, right? He was 220 plus at the Senior Bowl. He came into the combine trying to be a little lighter, came in at 5'11", 213, ran a 4.58. That's okay. Like, to me, Devin Neal I
don't care.
No, and it's all over his film. He's great. To me, this kind of screams of the Bucky, Kyron Williams sort of. People aren't going to love the athletic profile, but the production profile is insane. In 22, he had over 1,000 yards, 6.3 an attempt. 25 targets, 19 receptions. Then in 23, he comes back with 1,200 yards, 6.6 an attempt, 1 fumble. And then in 24, just comes back with another 1,200 yards, 5.8 an attempt, 16 TDs, runs a 10 yards or more, 35, runs a 15 yards or more, 17. That's 17th and 20 in the nation. Elusive rating's good. The receptions are 26 this season, so he's been over 20 a few times in his career, or right at 20 and 22. So the thresholds are good. I think his receiving chops are good, but what I think does it for me with Devin Neal is he's got this quick lateral game that is east to west, but it's not. It's a quick step and then it's upfield, right?
Yeah.
He marries his feet, quickness, and vision, and they're all together,
Talk about it.
And they're all working.
Talk about it.
He's so good. And it's like, he's just a mature runner, man. Like he's so good at what he does. Obviously he had the huge senior day against Colorado that all but neutralized them in their hopes of and dreams of making the playoffs there. And he was a big part of that. I think he attacks the perimeter really well. He might even be like, for him not being super fast, like the perimeter runs might even be the better runs on his college tape. Just again, a solid receiver. But again, to me, this screams the kind of Bucky Kyron, people slow and be like, there's going to be some stink for some people. And both of those guys were very productive, good running backs. And we need to not fade productive, good running backs because that's what, Devin Neal is.
Well, I mean, we just got to take the medicine and accept the discount. So he's going at the 205 right now. And I was afraid that he was potentially going to be one of the guys that got steamed up if he outperformed expectations at the combine. So him doing what he did was perfect for me because now even I would say that he might slide because guys are going to get better capital and you're looking at a guy who doesn't really have wasted motion. Like he maximizes every single run. I don't have to, you hit the nail on the head with basically everything. You encapsulate everything that I wanted to say about Devin Neal. And we've talked about Ibuka being a professional. This is the professional's professional at the running back position. So if there was one guy where you're like, oh, why didn't we think that he was going to be an RB1 or a high end RB2 after his rookie season? This is the guy for me. He's my RB4. I'm not changing that because I believe in the talent that much.
Yeah. No, I agree. There isn't a guy that gets me much more excited to make sure he's on my team than Devin Neal for sure. So, all right, let's get into the third round. Who's your guy? I think I know who this is. And I think much like Neal and Higgins, we're in lockstep with those guys. I think we're going to be again in lockstep with who you got here. Cause
you know it. I'm bricked up in the cement aisle about Brashard Smith. There's no questions. I make no bones about it. Again, another guy. I haven't changed my process. Once I watch the film, I don't give the combine. I don't double count the combine and I don't count it against people that much, but he pretty much to me solidified what's going to probably be day 2 capital. I know the qualifier, legendary qualifier here, but I can't leave the third round without Brashard Smith, a converted wide receiver. He's got the best running back, like complete receiving running back profile because he's a former 4-star receiver that had over 700 yards. He's a dynamic kick returner. He's incredible in space. The short that we made where I said, I just can't stop watching. I can't wait to get to the next touch when I watch his film. It's unbelievable. This is his first year playing running back after playing receiver for 3 years at Miami. And he comes out and he's second team all ACC. I don't have it in front of me. And then 1,300 yards rushing, another 300 yards receiving, 17 total touchdowns. And everything that you see is the versatility and the skill of a guy who's going to contribute. This is the new NFL. They're not going to bang him between the tackles 25 times a game. If this guy gets 15 to 18 opportunities a game, 13 carries, 5 targets, he's going to turn you into a top 15 running back. And you're getting him in the third round. I know that sounds bold, guys, but just remember, he is a former receiver that runs a 4.3 that showed you that he's an excellent running back and against top-level Power 4 competition. So, and he's in the third round. So, yeah, fade him. Hey, there's a guy that said, hey, I fade everything the guy with the gray beard says. Please get in the draft with me and fade Brashard Smith. I'm telling you to do that right now.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep again. I'm not fading Smith at all, I'll be reaching for Smith for sure. I'm waiting for the point where he does get a little steamed up, because it does seem like it's coming at some point. But what really solidifies me not being worried about it is you mentioned it and touched on it, but like, he's gonna have a role, and he's gonna be able to get on the field, and from there we can expand on it. And I think he's a player that can. And I know we touched. I was kind of talking about Neal and Bucky a little bit. But much like we saw Bucky kind of be undeniable, I think Brashard Smith can have that same component to his game where you have to keep expanding his role a little bit. You bring him in to do this kind of satellite spell, role. And I think it's just going to keep going because he's going to keep growing and keep flourishing. And you're going to want to put the ball in his hands. There are certainly some circumstances where he could get drafted and it might take a minute for him to get on the field, but I feel like somebody's going to be drafting him as a complement to what they kind of already have going on. And there's going to be so many times where he just gets the ball in his hands and it's going to be like, oh shit, we should probably involve whatever number he's going to be in the league next year. If the Texans bring him in, great. But the part where he could get steamed up is if somebody like
the Broncos.
The Broncos or the Lions, or not the Lions, rather. I'm thinking of the Lions' old coach. The Bears come in and maybe they go, a Kaleb Johnson or a Quinshon, and then they get themselves a Brashard Smith and have two different things. But there's a lot of options out there for Smith to come in immediately and have a role. That's really my big thing with him. I think he's going to get on the field quick, fast, and in a hurry. And somebody's going to draft him with a role in mind. And then I think that role can expand very quickly because of, the talents that he has.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm like I said, I've made no bones about it. This is one I've said it time and time again. It's my favorite running back. I don't have him ranked ahead of everybody else, but this is my favorite value regardless, in the entire draft. This is my favorite value. And it's been an auto select without question every single time.
Yeah. Same, unless you're in there, and then we got a battle for him. All right, I'm going RJ Harvey with my third round selection here. He came in at 5'08" or 5'8", 205 at the combine. Came in, ran a 4.4. The thing that's keeping RJ Harvey out of the second round and out of a high second round, I think, is because he's 24 years old. I think Dynasty people, especially the agists out there, are going to tell you that he's 24 and that he's too old. And it's like, dude, everybody just wants to talk about 3 to 4 year windows anyway. Like, so Harvey's isn't like he's been playing running back again. I know we just talked about another guy, but he was a quarterback when he came in. So he doesn't even have this many miles on the legs and on the body. And he's been figuring this out as things have been going on. But this is a tight, compact running back that has over 1,300 yards in 23 with 16 touchdowns. Throughout his career, he maintained a 6.6 yards per carry. He's got good patience, and I think he does a really good job of using various play speed to manipulate defenders at the line of scrimmage. Harvey seems to be obviously I'm taking him here, but seems to be one of the best shots you can take out of potential 3-down back later in the draft here. I think he's going to get plenty of run. I think the draft capital is going to be good on a guy like Harvey. Second in runs of 10 yards or more with 54, only behind Genty. Second in runs of 15 yards or more, 32, behind, you guessed it, Genty. He's putting together a great breakaway percentage of 52.4%, amassed 69 missed tackles, good for 7th. The contact balance is really good, helps him keep plays alive. 897 yards coming after contact, which has him 9th overall. So it's tight, compact build. You don't see a lot of the receiving. They just didn't throw it to the back a whole lot. But
they didn't throw it a lot, period.
Right.
They just didn't.
But a good receiver by all accounts. Hit the 20 reception threshold there, and a career of 55 total receptions. The pass pro may be a mixed bag, some good, some bad.
That's the one thing
right
for me that gives me pause is there's a clip floating around from some other fantasy analyst where Desmond Watson, the 460-pound Florida defensive tackle's coming free. And he just kind of turtles up and is like, man, that dude's 460 pounds. There's no reason. I don't care that but it's a pattern. I had to scout him fully for a different draft guide I'm working on. And I was just like, okay, that's it. But that's one thing that if you don't ask someone to do it, they're not going to know how to do it at a high level. If you don't rep that's not natural. Natural is them running the football.
Right. You can teach pass pro. And it's a want to. That's really all this comes down to with pass pro. Do you want to get in? And I don't want to get in there against a 400-pound guy. And it's just like when people have a fumbling problem, like you can learn how to not fumble. What you can't learn how to do is run the ball well. Right.
Right. So, I love that.
No. So big fan of RJ Harvey. I think he's going to get some good capital. We're going to get a landing spot, and we have a chance at a 3-down running back with a very diverse skill set, who's just kind of, again, theme of a few of these players, just kind of learning the position. Again, it's old, but I get it. Tyrone Tracy this year came out and it was a little older than Harvey, had a pretty good year, and people are worried about him getting replaced or whatever, but I don't think he's getting replaced. And that I think once he doesn't get replaced, it's going to bump the value up this year
without question
for him. And I think Harvey coming in at 24, if he can get some run, but I get 5 years out of him by the time he's 29. Right. So I'm all right with that. And we've been so worried about this quote unquote age cliff and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I think we're about to see this curve move up a little bit with kind of the current backs that are coming through the league. We had some unfortunate injuries with some of the big time guys that were, star running backs in the league. But now I think we're going to fix that problem a little bit with the Kamaras and the Barkleys of the world playing well deeper into the 29 to 31 range, right?
Yeah, it's going to correct itself because these guys are constantly 24. You got rumors of Derrick Henry spending $250,000 on his body a year.
Right.
These guys this is a year round. They're treating it like a profession. And so, injury, it's 100% attrition rate when it comes to injury, but these are also players that take this very seriously, and we're going to get more than what you think. You don't have to dump a guy because he's 28 years old now. Now, if you see declining metrics and you see it's clear that they've lost a step, sure. But don't just assume because we had a generation of guys that just fell off at 28 after getting 13 or 1,400 career touches that they were going to be cooked. So, you have to play Dynasty with your eyes, not a spreadsheet.
Correct. And you can use the numbers to help you navigate, but you also have to apply context to said numbers. So, all right, let's briefly touch on the 4th round and then let's get out of here. What do you got for us late round?
Oh, Kyle Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, Kyle Williams. I mean, he's getting steam because Chris Sims made him his number 2 wide receiver. I told you on the phone, we were talking earlier. I said I haven't done his all 22 yet, but I watched his YouTube highlights and I was like, oh, yes, I can understand why people would be very, very excited. Hey, real honest here. Didn't watch a lot of Washington State.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch a ton of Washington State, but I have to go back now and look at this very seriously because everything points to him being a screaming value and nobody was talking about him. The only person I heard say something about him before the combine was John Lobb over from Really Big Boards or whatever. And that was before the combine. And it's just been wheels up ever since. I mean, he runs a 4.40. All the film is there. Yeah. All of the explosives on film, like his highlight tape is ridiculous. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to getting into. And that's a guy that I would not want to leave because I think he's going to steam his way potentially into day 2.
Yeah, I think the capital is going to be good on him. I think you're right. I'll throw a couple of names out here and we'll kind of wrap it up. I like Torrey Horton from Colorado State. He's a favorite of mine. He's going 409. Jordan James going 405 for the running back position. Really like him. Ty Felton super late. He's interesting from Maryland. Got some speed. Got some yak. Can kind of play couple different positions there. Ricky White I liked his tape a whole lot from UNLV, transferred from Michigan State, put up some really good numbers. And then Jarquez Hunter, I was just on Matt Kelly's podcast with Cody Carpentieri. He put me onto him. I went home, watched some tape on Hunter, and liked what I saw there. So he's gonna have to get a little more love. Yeah, no, I mean I love Jarquez Hunter. I did a write up for him pre Senior Bowl and pre Combine. My wife's an Auburn alum, so I'm a little bit tapped in, and I played for Coach Freeze back in the day. So I follow Auburn pretty closely, and I've liked what I've seen from him every step of the way. It's just that there's so much depth here in the class that he's going to get pushed down as a guy who's unspectacular, but I think he's going to have a long NFL career, if he's given the opportunity. Yeah. All right, real quick, 2 on the way out. I'll take one, you take one. Who's somebody that you had to reluctantly leave off the list? Oh, Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders. Rocket Sanders? Yes, Raheem Sanders. Let's go with an earlier player. Oh, an earlier player? Jalen Royals. Jalen Royals. Okay. Yeah, that's the other guy. Him and I. So ever since Austin threw that comp out about him being Rashee Rice, it's starting to get more and more steamed up, and his numbers are almost identical on a per game basis and it's not obviously AJ Brown's doing it in the SEC, but that's the ceiling comp if everything goes right to me for Jalen Royals. I'm a sucker for Royals, like Royals. So mine would be Trey Harris. Had to leave him off, went with our guy Devin Neal instead, but I really like Trey Harris. I like that he's offers. I feel like he's different than a lot of the receivers in this draft. Offers you like that true X possession, big bodied guy that can do some different things than a lot of these receivers are going to get. And I think he's, he ain't getting past the 3rd round. Let's put it that way. No, he might slip out of the 2nd, but I really like Trey Harris's game, and I think he didn't test well. I didn't think he was going to test well, but the on field speed is way faster than 4.54 or whatever he ran. And he's a grown man out there, man. Good luck tackling that man. He runs routes like Keenan Allen. He doesn't have the sudden, obviously Keenan Allen's in the Hall of Fame when it comes to route runners, but he has that type of, he understands how to break off routes and use his body to create separation. Yeah. And then at the catch point, he is, I could see a Keenan Allen-esque career in the range of outcomes for Trey Harris. So I like that a lot. That Dez Bryant kind of. Yes. Dez Bryant at the catch point, and then him running, his ability to create separation is just, mwah. Yeah. So I love that. I'm glad that you brought that up. I didn't mean to cut you off with Rocket Sanders because I think he needs his due too. So. Oh, yeah. Hey, Rocket Sanders is in the 4th round, guys. That's another guy I would take in the 4th round. But earlier, we're talking earlier. Grown man. Yeah, that's a grown man right there. Rocket Sanders had a hell of a career. All right, Shep. Obviously, outside of the FFD, because we steamed up team member at this point. Where else can we find you? We know we're not doing. I'm not gonna run down everything anymore. Go to my X. It's at Chev90, and you will find all the stuff that I have going on. It's just retweet. Yeah, it's there. So if you go to my page, you'll find it. Give me a follow. I say funny stuff from time to time. I enjoy interacting with everybody. So yeah, just give me a follow, at me. I'll respond. Adam, or you can find him in them comments. And I'm always in the comments. Don't think that I'm not. I'm always, even if you don't see me comment, I'm there waiting. Like the Loch Ness Monster. He's lurking. He's somewhere. All right. You can, if you want some more FFD, you can hit us with the free Discord. We got a paid Discord. We got extra episodes every week on the Patreons, the $5 holler, a $10 holler. We got the ADP we've been talking about. We're always mocking rookies and startups. We've got live mock draft Mondays we're throwing down. So make sure you're liked and subbed to the channel so you can come check all that stuff out. And if you haven't already, we've been seeing them go up. So I appreciate y'all. Hit us with them 5 stars, baby. And then, follow the rules of the contest. You get in for a free t-shirt. So until next time, I'm Casey. That's Chev. We're the FFD. Peace.
Peace.